Who said anything about stealing a horse? He said. Anyhow, I said, how long ago did you begin riding every morning? Not until this morning, he said. Are you telling the truth? I said. Of course not, he said, but if we are found out, that's what you are to say. I don't want both of us to be liars. All you know is that we started riding this morning. So Aram asked Murad how long he had been riding the horse, and he replied, not until this morning. So he asked are you telling the truth? But Murad replied, of course not. And he told Aram, if we are found out, this is you have to say, because they don't want us to be liars. If we are found out, that's what you have to say. All you know is that we have started riding this morning. All right, I said. He walked the horse quietly to the barn of a deserted vineyard, which at one time had been the pride of a farmer named Fetwagian. There were some oats and rye alfalfa in the barn. We began walking home. It wasn't easy, he said, to get the horse to behave so nicely. At first, it wanted to run wild, but as I have told you, I have a way with a horse. I can get it to want to do anything I want it to do. Horses understand me. He walked the horse quietly to the barn of a deserted vineyard, which was uh, the pride of a farmer named Fetwagian, and there were some oats and rye alfalfa in the barn. Then they began walking home, and he told it wasn't easy to get the horse behave so nicely. At first it wanted to run wild, but as I've told you, I have a way with horses. He is telling he have a way with horses, and he can get it to do whatever he want. And the horse understood him. How do you do it? I said. I have an understanding with a horse, he said. Yes, but what sort of understanding? I said. A simple and honest one, he said. Well, I said, I wish I knew how to reach an understanding like that with a horse. You are still a small boy, he said. When you get to be 13, you'll know how to do it. I went home and ate a hearty breakfast. So Aram asked Murad, how does he do it, control the horses? How does he understand? So he replied, he have an understanding with the horse. And he asked, what sort of understanding? And Murad replied, a simple and honest one. And he also wished that he knew how to reach the understanding like that with a horse. But Murad replied, you are still a small boy, and when you will be 13, you will get to know how to do it. And Aram went home and had a hearty breakfast. That afternoon, my uncle, Khosrow, came to our house for coffee and cigarettes. He sat in the parlor, sipping and smoking and remembering the old country. Then another visitor arrived, a farmer named John Bryo, an Assyrian who, out of loneliness, had learned to speak Armenian. My mother brought the lonely visitor coffee and tobacco, and he rolled a cigarette and sniffed and smoked. And then at last, sighing sadly, he said, my white horse, which was stolen last month, is still gone. I cannot understand it. So that afternoon, this Khosrow came to a house for coffee and cigarette, for having coffee, and he sat in the parlor snipping and smoking and remembering the old country. And then another visitor arrived. He was a farmer named John Bryo. He, out of loneliness, he learned to speak this Armenian language, and his mother brought lonely visitor coffee and tobacco, and he rolled a cigarette and sipped a smoke. And then at last, sadly, he said, he lost his white horse last month and he couldn't find it. It's still gone, and he didn't understand it. My uncle Khosrow became very irritated and shouted, "It's no harm. What is the loss of horse? Haven't we all lost the homeland? What is this crying over a horse? This may be all right for you, a city dweller, to say," John Brio said. "But what of my Surrey? What good is Surrey without a horse?" "Pay no attention to it," my uncle Khosrow roared. "I walked 10 miles to get here," John Brio said. "You have legs," my uncle Khosrow shouted. So uncle became very irritated and he shouted. And he said, "It is of no harm. And what is the loss of a horse? And haven't we all lost the homeland? What is the crying over a horse? And this may be all right for you, a city dweller, to say," John Brio said. "But what of my Surrey? What good is Surrey without a horse?" And then Khosrow said, "No, pay no attention to it." But he said, John Brio said, "I walked 10 miles to get here." "That you have legs," my uncle Khosrow shouted. "My left leg pains me," the farmer said. "Pay no attention to it," my uncle Khosrow roared. "That horse cost me $60, said the farmer. "I spit on money," my uncle Khosrow said. He got up and stalked out of the house, slamming the screen door. My mother explained. "He has a gentle heart," she said. "It is simply that he is homesick and such a large man." He said his left leg is paining, but Khosrow replied saying, "Pay no attention to it. Don't give attention to it. As usual, what he says." "And the horse cost $60, the farmer still said. But Khosrow replied by saying, "I spit on money." And he got up and stalked out of the house. He ran out of the house, walked out of the house, slamming the screen door. Closing the door with high force. My mother explained. "He has a gentle heart." Mother said that he has a gentle heart and it is simply that he is homesick and such a large man. The farmer went away and I ran over to my cousin Murad's house. He was sitting under a peach tree trying to repair the hurt wing of a young robin which couldn't not fly. He was talking to a bird. "What is it?" he said. "The farmer, John Brio," I said. "He visited our house. He wants his horse. You had it this month. I want you to promise not to take it back until I learn to ride." The farmer went away and he ran to his cousin Murad's house, who was sitting under a peach tree. He was trying to repair a hurt wing of a young robin which could not fly. He was trying to help a young robin, a bird which wings was damaged, and he was talking to the bird. He asked, "What is it?" The farmer, John Brio, Aram replied. He said, "The farmer visited their house and he wants horse back, and you've had it a month. I want you to promise not to take it back until I learn it to ride." He said not to take it back until he learned to ride. "It will take a year to learn to ride," my cousin Murad said. "We would keep the horse here," I said. My cousin Murad leaped onto his feet. "What?" he roared. "Are you inviting a member of the Gargolian family to steal? The horse must go back to its true owner." "When?" I said. "In 6 months at the latest," he said. He threw the bird into the air. The bird tried, hard, almost fell twice, but at last flew away high and straight. It will take a year to learn how to ride, cousin Murad said. We could keep the horse a year, Aram said. He got onto his feet. Murad got onto his feet and he rolled. He asked, "What? Are you inviting a member of the family to steal? The horse must go back to his true owner." He said, "The horse must go back to his true owner." "When?" Aram asked. And he said, "In 6 months at least." And then he threw the bird into the air. The bird tried hard, almost fell twice, but at last it flew away high and straight. Early every morning for 2 weeks, my cousin Murad and I took the horse out of the barn of the deserted vineyard where we were hiding it and rode it. Every morning the horse, when it was my turn to ride alone, leaped over the grapevines and the small trees and threw me and ran away. Nevertheless, I hope in time to learn to ride the way my cousin Murad rode. So every morning for 2 weeks, his cousin Murad and Aram, he took the horse out of the barn of the deserted vineyard where we were hiding it and rode it. They hid the horse in the deserted vineyard. And every morning the horse, when it was Aram's turn to ride, leaped over the grapevines and small trees and it threw me away and ran away. So every morning the horse leaped over the grapevine and small trees and he threw Aram down and it ran away. Aram used to fall down from the horse but the horse would run away. Nevertheless, he hoped in time. He hoped in time to learn the way his cousin Murad rode. One morning, on the way to Fetwagen's deserted vineyard, we ran into the farmer John Broyo, who was on his way to town. "Let me do the talking," my cousin Murad said. "I have a way with farmers." "Good morning, John Broyo," my cousin Murad said to the farmer. The farmer studied the horse eagerly. So one morning, when they ran into this farmer John Broyo, who was on his way to town. "Let me do the talking," cousin Murad said, and he said he have a way with the farmers. And he greeted him, "Good morning," and the farmer studied the horse. He looked at the horse carefully. "Good morning, son of my friends," he said. "What is the name of your horse?" "My heart, my cousin," Murad said in Armenian. "Lovely name," John Broyo said, "for a lovely horse. I could swear it's the horse that was stolen from me many weeks ago. May I look into his mouth?" "Of course," Murad said. And he also greeted them back and he asked, "What is the name of the horse?" So Murad said the name was My Heart in Armenian. And John Broyo replied, "Lovely name for a lovely horse. I could swear it's a horse that was stolen from me many weeks ago. May I look into his mouth?" And he asked, "Can he look into his mouth?" And Murad said, "Of course." The farmer looked into the mouth of the horse. "Tooth for tooth," he said. "I could swear it's my horse if I didn't know your parents. The fame of your family for honesty is well known to me. Yet the horse is a twin of my horse. A suspicious man would believe his eyes instead of his heart. Good day, my young friends." "Good day, John Broyo," my cousin Murad said. The farmer looked into the mouth of the horse. "Tooth for tooth," he said, and he could swear it is his horse if he didn't know his parents, because his parents and his family is known for trust and honesty, and he knew his family would never steal other things. And yet the horse is the twin of my horse. He thought the horse, because of the appearance and same color, he thought the horse is similar to his horse, twin of the horse, of my horse. A suspicious man would believe his eyes instead of his heart. A good day, my young friends. Good day, John Briar, my cousin Murad said. Early the following morning, we took the horse to John Briar's vineyard and put it in the barn. Dogs followed us around without making a sound. The dogs, I whispered to my cousin Murad. I thought they would bark. They would sit at somebody else, he said. I have a way with the dogs. My cousin Murad put his arm around the horse, pressed his nose into the horse's nose and patted it, and then we went away. So they decided to return the horse. And early morning they took the horse to John Briar's vineyard and he put it in the barn. He put it in the barn. And his cousin the dogs followed us around without making a noise. So the dogs also followed them without making a noise. And the dogs, he said to his cousin, and he thought they would bark. They would at somebody else, replied Murad. And he said he have a way with dogs. My cousin Murad put his arms around the horse. He put his arms around the horse and pressed his nose onto the horse's nose and patted it. And then we went away. That afternoon, John Briar came to our house in the Surrey and showed my mother the horse that had been stolen and returned. I did not know what to think, he said. The horse is stronger than ever, better tempered too. I thank God. My uncle Khosrow, who was in the parlor, became irritated and shouted, Quiet, man, quiet. Your horse has been returned. Pay no attention to it. So that afternoon, John Briar came to their house in a Surrey and showed the horse to his mother that had been stolen and returned. So he did not know what to think. I don't know what to think, he said. But the horse is stronger than ever, better tempered too, and he thanked God. I thank God, Uncle Khosrow said. Uncle Khosrow said, who was in the parlor. He became very irritated and he shouted, Quiet, man, quiet. Your horse has been returned. Pay no attention to it. Thank you. And this is a chapter Summer of a Beautiful White Horse by William Sorrell.